What's the real secret to keeping up with your health and fitness goals? I know we always want a secret, right? I think many of us, we want an easy button. But do you know the secret? Well, we're going to talk about these things. And I know it might not be the most sexy, glamorous topic, but it is a key to really unlocking and hitting your fitness goals. And that's about creating sustainable habits that propel you to move toward your health goals without burning out. I know that was a big thing for me back in the day when I finally started. I don't want to say. I guess I want to say cracking the code, at least for me, on what kept me going. And I realized that I was in this loop of I get started and then somehow I drift off course. And I get started and I'd somehow drift off course. It was never get started and then quit. It was just somehow there was always this little fade off period, and the fade off period lasted a long time. And so when I finally, like I said, cracked the code, I realized that I wanted to create sustainable habits for life. And in the beginning, and this is what James Clear says, the author of Atomic Habits, in the beginning, it's more important to develop the habits than it is to see the results. And that can sometimes be a bit challenging for people, but hey, if that's what's going to help you crack the code, then have a listen, especially if you're ready to transform your health and fitness journey. We'll dig into that. But also, before we get into that, I do want to say thank you so much for joining me on another Power Blast podcast, where we provide nourishment for the soul, allowing you to transform from the inside out. That's where it starts on the inside, so that you can recharge that mental and physical battery of yours, reclaim your power, and really reach all of your goals. And when you are ready to do this, head over to talktoperry.com. I'll drop that link down, or right down there in the lower third, and I'll also have it right there in the show notes here in the description. Because it's all about keeping your energy high and reaching all your goals, and using the very things that I'm going to share with you today, so that you can hit goal after goal after goal without that drifting off and fading sort of thing that happens to us. I keep my calendar wide open for podcast viewers like you. Get over to talktoperry.com and let's have a conversation about what you're wanting to go after. So, because I want to help you recharge your battery, right? Consistency. A lot of us think it's like this big dream, fantasy world or sort of thing. And consistency in exercise and nutrition, it really doesn't come from monumental changes. I think that's why we put it on such a pedestal, because we think it's got to be some sort of revolutionary thing. But it is just the collection of small daily habits. And those can create a lasting impact. You probably have a bunch of daily habits that you already do that are stacked. Whether it's around your work day, it's however you go about getting ready for the day, how you go and wind down your day, when you eat things, all that stuff. You probably have a ritual around many things, maybe even your commute or drive to and from work or to and from events. So you've got these things. You probably maybe even have a habitual ritual around when you're going on vacations. And so just keep that in mind. It is a build of those. So here's some things just to give you some perspective. Just some strategies you can use. If you want to take some notes, cool. If you want to come back to this, that's fine as well. Structured flexibility. I mean, I work really well with structure, but I don't want it so structured that I can't adjust along the way. So planning your workouts, planning your meals for the week, really cool. But allow for some adjustments based on your day-to-day energy and your commitments. Not to let yourself off the hook. I'm not saying, now I'm letting myself off the hook. Now I slided, I failed. But if you've got this structure that you've built and you're flexible with it, where it's like it might need to customize a little bit, that way you're not painting yourself into a corner. You're not in perfectionism. You're crafting your progress there. Environmental setup is huge. Tailoring your living space to have healthy habits. when I started realizing that I was keeping things in my kitchen just in case company came over, all this stuff, I realized that they weren't serving me and they weren't serving my family. So everything went to like a food bank, and I found myself I found myself just donating the food and keeping the things that were going to fuel my body, with some other things, a little bit of flexibility there. But I didn't want anything that was going to totally derail me if I was feeling stressed or low energy or impulsive or bored and saying, I got to quick do this. I did the same thing with the environmental setup on with my fitness too. My gym, I built a small little gym in the corner of my bedroom. Now, some people do it in their basement or their living room, but it was in a place that I could constantly see it. And it was there in my mind. Go and get this done. So it made things more mindful. Speaking of mindfulness, mindful engagement, just making things like during your workouts, focusing deeply on the movements rather than just passively going through moves. If you've ever been like me, you've probably done that before, where you just kind of like go through the motions, which is can be helpful, but not if you've got big goals, right? This way, you increase the engagement in your and effectiveness of your workouts. Social accountability is huge. Now, I was a person that when I first started out, I'm like, I don't want anybody to know. I don't want anybody to see me, watch me, whatever. So I worked out from home in my own little private area, kept the door closed. Nobody could come in there. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I never went to a gym. Not saying never. I loved going to a gym, but why I avoided the gym at that moment in my life. But social accountability, whether you're sharing this with family member, whether it's a community group, because I run virtual groups now, because that's one thing that helped me crack the code. Once I got out of that routine, I started sharing my journey and my goals. Then I not only became accountable, but we helped motivate and support each other to continue to propel ourselves forward. So that was really, really a cool thing. I talked about this thing on my audio podcast. And if you didn't know, I do have an audio podcast where I put out an episode every single day, with the exception of Sundays. So 6 days a week, you're getting audio. That's wherever you listen to podcasts, the audio version stuff, head over there, Power Blast Podcast, or search for my name, Perry Tinsley. You'll find those. I was talking about a brag book the other day, and just this reflective adjustments where you're reviewing what worked, you're hitting those milestones, you're proving the things that you've overcome, so you can adjust those needs as you go, as opposed to just winging it and thinking it in your head. You've got the documentation there. So I think that's always a cool thing. And if you need that inspirational kickstart, that's where I tell people, get over to talktoperry.com. We'll map out a game plan for you so that you're consistent for life, as opposed to consistent for a while until you're not consistent. You're on this thing till I'm off this thing. No, we get rid of that stuff. That's over at talktoperry.com, so you can keep that energy really, really boosted. And with that call, I always call it a recharge call, because I think many of us, and this probably contributes to the inconsistency, many of us were like a 6-year-old smartphone with 2% battery life and no charger in sight. We go around with such low energy, and that I want to help you boost that energy. How would your life look different if your mental and your physical battery is running at 100% every single day, as opposed to 2%, right? So that's where I say, talktoperry.com. It's wide open for podcast viewers, wide open for you. Just book your time there, because I want to hear your goals and what things you're working through, and I'll help you within 15 minutes which direction is going to be the best for you and where you're going to get the biggest results from. So consistency, as I'm thinking of some final thoughts here, it's not about this perfect streak. It's about making your health a priority every single day. Making decisions the best that you can. As Tony Horton would say, do your best and forget the rest. Each step, it's just making that little investment in a healthier, more energetic you, right? So hopefully these strategies really work for you. Just know you can choose to use your power, use these strategies, take control, and build your consistency muscle, or you can let procrastination, justifications, rationalizations, why you're so busy, why you can't do it, why it wouldn't work this time, pointing the finger at other things, all the external circumstances, you can let those control you and drain your power. It really boils down to deciding and committing to yourself and your goals, and then choosing to look at new ways, looking at possibilities, and keep moving forward, my friend. You absolutely rock. And as always, remember, well, actually, let me tell you this. Drop your, if you have a favorite nugget or you have a question, drop those down in the comments. I will respond to those. And I just want to say, you absolutely rock. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week. That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day, I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness Community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find this show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.